Hello, you are all welcome. Let's look at the question we have for today. It's from the topic percent and interest. An investor purchased a share of non-dividend paying stock for P dollars on Monday. So this particular share was purchased for P dollars on Monday. For a certain number of days, the value of the share increased by 100% per day. So that means at the end of day one, the share will increase by 100% of P. At the end of day two, the amount of the previous day becomes the principal of the next day. So what we are dealing with here is compound interest. So that is the difference between compound and simple interest. For simple interest, the interest is constant and it's against the principal. For compound interest, the amount of the previous year becomes the principal of the next year. So the interest is not the same. The value of the interest increases as the year increases for compound interest. So the problem we have to deal with here is for compound interest. Okay, let's continue. After this period of constant increase, the value of the share decreased the next day by Q dollars, and the investor decided to sell the share at the end of that day for V dollars, which was the value of the share at that time. How many working days after the investor bought the share was the share sold? If R equals 100 square root of V plus Q over P minus 1. So let's start solving. So this is the principal B dollars. So if the share increased by R%, the equation will become 1 plus R over 100. So let n be number of days in this case. So this n represents number of the days the share increased by R%. The question said the next day, after n days, the next day, the um, the value of the share decreased by Q dollars. So this will be minus Q by Q dollars. And the investor decided to sell the share at the time, at the end of that day for V dollars. So that means this entire expression equals V dollars, which was the value of the share at that time. How many working days after the investor bought the share was the share sold? If R equals, from here we know that R equals 100 in brackets Q root of V plus Q over P. This Q root covers everything here. So from here, then minus 1. So this is the value of R. So let's start solving and see where this leads us. So we find a way of relating these two equations. And then if they're asking for the number of days, remember n means represent number of days the share increased by R%. That is what the value of n is. After those number of days, the value of the share decreased by Q dollars. So after an additional 1 day, the value of the share decreased by Q dollars to become V. So that means what we are actually looking for, based on the question, is not actually the value of n. So the number of days it took P to become V is now n plus 1. So if you calculated for n and then you pick whatever value for n as your answer, you are going to get the question wrong. So the value we are actually looking for is n plus 1. So let's continue. So this becomes P in bracket 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n equals V plus Q. So we are going to make R the Surveyor formula and then we compare it with this in order to find n. So that is what I'm trying to do now. So this, you divide both sides by P. This becomes 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n equals V plus Q over P. So we take away the n, so this becomes 1 plus R over 100. So what do we do to take away the n? We multiply both sides by 1 over n. So we have n here times 1 over n. So equals V plus Q over P raised to power 1 over n. So this becomes 1 here. So we have 1 plus R over 100 equals V plus Q over P raised to power 1 over n. So we want to make R squared formula. So 1 goes over to the other side. So we have R over 100 equals V plus Q over P raised to power 1 over n minus 1. So again, we want to eliminate 100 to make R squared formula. So you multiply all through by 1. So this becomes R equals 100 in brackets V plus Q over P, put this in brackets 1 over n minus 1. So what we are now going to do is to compare these two equations. So let's wipe this area off. So where we started from. So that means 100 V plus Q over P. Everything here is 1 over n minus 1 equals 100. That's why this area of 2. So equals V plus Q over P 1 over s power 1 over 2. So minus 1. So if you divide both sides by 100, so we have V plus Q over P raised power 1 over n minus 1 equals V plus Q over P raised power 1 over 2 minus 1. You have minus 1 on both sides, so these two cross over. So you have, now if you look at it, you discover that you have V plus, the base here is the same in both cases. Now according to the law of indices, if the bases are the same, the powers will be the same. So therefore 1 over n equals 1 over 2. So from here you cross multiply, n equals 2. Now remember, we are not looking, if you look at the option, you see that you have 2 as one of the options. That is a trap answer. So remember, the question is asking us, let's see, how many working days after the investor bought the share was the share sold? So remember, the share was sold at $V, which is n plus 1 days. It increased by R percent for N days, and then decrease by Q dollars the next day. So N plus 1. So A is our trap answer. So the actual answer will now be 2 plus 1, which is equals to 3 working days. So that makes B the answer. So if you find this video helpful, you can go ahead and hit the notification button, subscribe to the channel so that you can see more of these videos. So until we meet again next time, bye bye.